Welcome to the AFR Saints channel, where we provide you daily content on your favorite team, the New Orleans Saints. Do us a favor and hit that subscribe button. Be sure to leave your comments below and smash that like button. Who dat? Saints were practicing Thursday in London. Worth noting, of course, that practicing on Thursday afternoon in London, but it was actually Thursday morning here in Louisiana Central Time Zone. And yet again, no Jameis Winston at practice. So that is that's the big change. Because a week ago, in the last 2 weeks, the Saints have given Jameis off on Wednesday as a rest day, and then he's been limited Thursday and Friday to see what he could do. Well, the big change, of course, a day ago was that we saw, the media allowed to attend, saw Taysom Hill taking quarterback reps, which he has not done all year, even back to training camp. We have not seen Taysom Hill take any quarterback reps. So the fact that Dalton was taking first-team reps and Taysom Hill was taking second-team reps tells you effectively what you need to know, which is that they are preparing for the likelihood or the possibility, if you don't want to use that strong a term, of Jameis Winston not being available. And that was further validated with today, the fact that Jameis was not at practice and was a non-participant on today's injury report. So the other big news, obviously, is Michael Thomas was not available at practice today either, so we'll get into that. Let's just run through the injury report real quick, and then we'll let you hear from Pete Carmichael. Dennis Allen does not typically speak to the media on Thursday, so offensive coordinator Pete Carmichael did, and he was peppered a little bit about Jameis and all that, so we're going to get to that in a second. But Paulson Adebo, Alvin Kamara, both limited Wednesday and Thursday, so no change with those two. Marcus Davenport was upgraded to a full participant, as was J.T. Gray. And Tre'Quan Smith, who was a full participant on Thursday as well after being limited on Wednesday. Deontay Hardy remained limited. Taysom Hill also limited, as was Marcus May. Jarvis Landry, great news, went from not practicing Wednesday to being a limited participant on Thursday. Andrus Peat also upgraded, did not practice Wednesday, was limited on Thursday. He's got the concussion. And then Ryan Ramczyk, who had a rest day yesterday, was a full go. Was limited today, but had a rest day on Wednesday and was limited on Thursday. So the other news that you see there at the bottom of the injury report is that Jameis Winston and Michael Thomas each did not practice. So let's hear from Pete Carmichael about Jameis. Here he was talking about Jameis missing practice on Thursday there in London.
Yeah, I think that they're just making what was the best decision for him today. And then obviously, there was a plan last week kind of where he was going to be limited throughout the week. And so we'll just see where we are at tomorrow. But it was just part of the plan as the day unfolded.
So the follow-up was a clarification. If Jameis, again, remember, there's Pete Carmichael telling you that was part of the plan. So saying, was Jameis not practicing Thursday? Here's clarification, part of the plan.
I think the plan was just kind of see where he was at day to day, and then see if we could get him out there. And so hopefully, that happens tomorrow.
So the questions obviously transition to Andy Dalton. If Jameis is not able to go, how much confidence do they have in Andy Dalton?
Well, absolutely a ton of confidence in him. That's why he's here, and he's smart. He gets in and out of the huddle. He knows what we're doing, what the plan is. A lot of confidence in Andy.
And one more from Pete Carmichael. It's how much does the offense change with Dalton as opposed to Winston?
Well, I think as we're putting the plan together, I think that every week we meet at the end of the week when the plan's done and just kind of see what are they comfortable with. And so if there's certain plays that one's more comfortable with than the others, then we'll go with that.
One of the things Pete Carmichael also said is that the game plan doesn't change based on who the quarterback is, and I believe him. Your offense is what it is, and the quarterback is expected to run the offense. Now, one of the things he said there in that soundbite was you may have certain plays that a quarterback is more comfortable with. That's very common. Sean Payton would talk about that often during his time in New Orleans, where he would sit down and say, all right, tell me the the 8 plays, the 10 plays. Tell me the 3 plays in this situation which you're most comfortable with. So as a play caller, you become comfortable with the guy, with the trigger man, knowing, all right, in this situation, all right, 3rd and 8 inside the red zone, he likes this play, and so are these 2 plays. So you look situationally at that. So that all that makes sense. I believe very much that if it's Jameis, if it's Andy Dalton, the game plan doesn't change dramatically. Now, if it were Taysom Hill, the game plan changes dramatically because of his skill set and what he's able to do, and the fact that he hasn't been playing quarterback at all this year. I mean, remember, notably, he put on weight again. When he was last offseason, when Taysom was trying to win the starting quarterback job, he cut weight, he got thinner, he worked more on throwing. This year, moving full-time into his Taysom role, tight end, however you want to say it, he bulked up again. Taysom Hill looks like a different player right now than he did a year ago physically. So, yes, the game plan would change if Taysom were in there. But again, Taysom most likely in this situation would be your emergency quarterback, your backup quarterback, if something were to happen to Andy Dalton. Now, I'm being presumptive, assuming Jameis isn't going to go. But we talked about this a couple of weeks ago, y'all, whenever they signed Latavius Murray. And
Murray, prison.
And what we said then was, hey, look, actions speak louder than words. I don't care what you're telling me. Let me see what you're doing. And when Alvin Kamara was injured and not practicing, and you went and signed a running back who had great familiarity with your system and you with him and all that sort of stuff, it told you there was a pretty good possibility that you were at least preparing for the possibility of Kamara not playing. And, of course, Alvin Kamara didn't play week 2 in that game against Tampa Bay. So it's the same thing here. I mean, the fact that Jameis isn't there now Wednesday, Thursday, not only that, but you're also repping Taysom Hill at quarterback, tells you they're preparing for the possibility of Jameis not being there, Andy Dalton starting, and Taysom Hill being the backup or the emergency quarterback option. The biggest question I would have is if Taysom Hill is the backup quarterback, do they have the Taysom Hill package in the offense? I mean, that was the thing, if you remember, 2 years ago when Drew Brees got hurt and Jameis Winston went in as the backup in the game that Drew got hurt, and then Taysom started the next week. Well, all during game week, they had repped Taysom in his Taysom Hill role, and Jameis was repped as the backup quarterback. So that's why when Drew went down in the game, Jameis went in at quarterback because Taysom had repped all week in his Taysom Hill role. So my question is, if you have Taysom Hill this week repping as the backup quarterback, is he also taking reps in his Taysom Hill role? We didn't see Taysom last week. He didn't play against Carolina. And he's been limited with the rib injury. So are you going to risk a limited Taysom Hill in his role, his do-everything role, his Swiss Army knife role, when he's your backup quarterback? Because if, God forbid, this happened, but you have to prepare for all of these possibilities. If something were to happen to Andy Dalton and Taysom had to go in, well, what if Taysom gets popped, running zone read or something like that, and he's out? Then what do you do? I mean, last year or 2 years ago during COVID, one of the things that Sean Payton was clear about is that Alvin Kamara would have been the emergency quarterback, but my goodness, I don't think anybody wants to see that unfold in a game that's so critical for the New Orleans Saints. But one of the things that I've said since the opener, I think many of you agree, is that look, I am not any less bullish today on Jameis Winston than I was in the offseason as far as what his potential could be. But the guy has a broken back. Like, literally. It's not, God, I feel like I broke my back. No. Like, he literally has a broken back. I slip a disc, and I'm like Lortab muscle relaxers on the couch for a week. This dude is trying to play football with a broken back. So, yes, I am good playing Andy Dalton now until Jameis gets healthy. That is the best path forward, and hopefully they've arrived at that conclusion, and maybe we see that on Sunday morning. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact, and be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.